And we're going to Deuteronomy chapter 30. Deuteronomy chapter 30, verses 1 through 10. Deuteronomy 30, which is the prophecy of our awakening, the awakening of the true Israelite people. Deuteronomy 30, from verses 1 to 10 in the renewed name King James Version. Renewed name King James Version, what we're reading from. And it says, "And it shall come to pass, when all these things are come upon thee, the blessing and the curse which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations where the Yahweh thy Elohim hath driven thee, and shalt return unto Yahweh thy Elohim, and shalt obey his voice, according to all that I command thee this day, thou and thy children, with all thine heart and with all thy soul, that then Yahweh thy Elohim will turn thy captivity and have compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee from all the nations where the Yahweh thy Elohim have scattered thee. If any of thine be driven out to the outmost parts of heaven, from thence will Yahweh thy Elohim gather thee, and from thence will he fetch thee. And Yahweh thy Elohim will bring thee into the land which thy fathers possessed, and thou shalt possess it. And he will do thee good and multiply thee above thy fathers. And Yahweh thy Elohim will circumcise thy heart and the heart of thy seed, to love Yahweh thy Elohim with all thy heart and with all thy soul, that thou mayest live. And Yahweh thy Elohim will put all these curses upon thine enemies and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. And thou shalt return and obey the voice of Yahweh, and do all his commandments, which I command thee this day. And Yahweh thy Elohim will make thee plenteous in every work of thy hand, in the fruit of thy body, in the fruit of thy cattle, and in the fruit of thy land, for good. For Yahweh will again rejoice over thee for good, as he rejoiced over thy fathers, if thou shalt hearken unto the voice of Yahweh thy Elohim, to keep his commandments and his statutes which are written in this book of the law. And if thou turn unto Yahweh thy Elohim with all thy heart and with all thy soul." Praise the Most High. Deuteronomy 30, verses 1 through 10. Now we turn to Yeshaya, Prophet Yeshaya, chapter 58. Chapter 58, Yeshaya 58, verses 12, 13, and 14. Yeshaya 58, verses 12, 13, and 14. "And they that shall be of thee shall build the old waste places. Thou shalt raise up the foundations of many generations, and thou shalt be called the repairer of the breach, the restorer of paths to dwell in. Thou turn away thy foot from the Sabbath, from doing thy pleasure on my holy day, and call the Sabbath a delight, the holy of Yahweh honorable, and shalt honor him, not doing thine own way, nor finding thine own pleasure, nor speaking thine own words. Then shalt thou delight thyself in Yahweh, and I will cause thee to ride upon the high places of the earth, and feed thee with the heritage of Yaakov thy father, for the mouth of Yahweh have spoken." Praise the Most High Yah. Now, Isaiah 58, verses 12, 13, and 14. Now we turn to the book of Acts of the Apostles. Acts of the Apostles, chapter 13. Acts of the Apostles, chapter 13, from verses 38 to 44. Acts of the Apostles, 13, 38 through 44. "Be it known unto you, therefore, men and brethren, that through this man is preached unto you the forgiveness of sins. And by him all that believe are justified from all things, for which ye could not be justified by the law of Moses. Beware, therefore, lest that come upon you which is spoken of in the prophets. Behold, ye despisers, and wonder and perish. For I work a work in your days, a work which ye shall in no wise believe, though a man declare it unto you. And when the Yahudim were gone out of the synagogue, the Gentiles besought that these words might be preached to them the next Sabbath. Now, when the congregation was broken up, many of the Yahudim and religious proselytes followed Paul and Barnabas, who, speaking to them, persuaded them to continue in the grace of Yahweh. And the next Sabbath day came almost the whole city together to hear the word of Yahweh. Acts chapter 13, verses 38 to 44. Now we turn to the epistle that was addressed to the Hebrews. The epistle that was addressed to the Hebrews. Hebrews chapter 8. Hebrews chapter 8 from verses 6 through 12. Hebrews chapter 8 from verses 6 through 12. But now hath he obtained a more excellent ministry, by how much also he is the mediator of a better covenant, which was established upon better promises. For if that first covenant had been faultless, then should no place have been sought for the second. For finding fault with them, he saith, behold, the days come, saith Yahweh, when I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day when I took them by the hand to lead them out of the land of Egypt, because they continued not in my covenant, and I regarded them not, saith Yahweh. For this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, saith Yahweh. I will put my laws into their mind and write them in their hearts. And I will be to them a Elohim, and they shall be to me a people. And they shall not teach every man his neighbor and every man his brother, saying, Know Yahweh, for all shall know me, from the least to the greatest. For I will be merciful to their unrighteousness, and their sins and their iniquities will I remember no more. Praise the Most High God. That was Hebrews chapter 8, verses 6 through 12. Now we turn to the revelation of the Messiah, revelation of the Mashiach Yahushua, revelation of the Messiah, Revelation chapter 14, verses 6, 7, and 12. Revelation 14, 6, 7, and 12. And I saw another angel fly in the midst of heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach unto them that dwell on the earth, and to every nation and kindred and tongue and people, saying with a loud voice, Fear Yahweh and give glory to him, for the hour of his judgment is come, and worship him that made heaven and earth and the sea and the fountains of waters. And there followed another angel saying, Babylon is fallen, that great city, because she made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, If any man worship the beast, I'm sorry, wait a minute, I'm going on too far. Verse 12, here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of Yahweh and the faith of Yahushua. Sorry about that. I started getting into it and I just kept reading. So as verse 12, here are the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of Yahweh and the faith of Yahushua. That was Revelation 14. We're supposed to have read verse 6, 7, and 12. My apologies. I read from verse 8 all the way to verse 9. Now we turn to Revelation chapter 11. Revelation chapter 11. Revelation 11. We're going to begin in Revelation 11 at verse 15 and read down to the end at verse 19, which is the seventh trumpet. Revelation 11, 15 to 19. And the seventh angel sounded, and there were great voices in heaven saying, The kingdoms of this world are become the kingdoms of our Yahweh, and of his Messiah, and he shall reign forever and ever. And the 24 elders which sat before Yahweh on their seats fell upon their faces and worshipped Yahweh, saying, We give thee thanks, O Yahweh Al Shaddai, which art and wast and art to come, because thou hast taken to thee thy great power and hast reigned, and the nations were angry, and thy wrath is come, and the time of the dead, that they should be judged, and that thou shouldest give reward unto thy servants the prophets, and to the saints, and them that fear thy name, small and great, and shouldest destroy them which destroy the earth. And the temple of Yahweh was opened in heaven, and there was seen in his temple the ark of his covenant, and there were lightnings and voices and thunderings and earthquake and great hail. Praise the Most High. Revelation chapter 11, verses 15 to 19. Last but not least, we turn back to Yeshaya. Yeshaya chapter 66. Yeshaya 66. verses 22, 23, and 24. Isaiah 66, 22, 23, and 24. Notice what the prophet said. For as the new heavens and the new earth, which I will make, shall remain before me, saith Yahweh, so shall your seed and your name remain. And it shall come to pass that from one new moon to another, and from one Sabbath to another, shall all flesh come and worship before me, saith Yahweh. And they shall go forth and look upon the carcasses of the men that have transgressed against me. For their worm shall not die, neither shall their fire be quenched, and they shall be an abhorring unto all flesh. Isaiah chapter 66, verses 22 to 24. Praise the Most High for his word. Thank you, Isha Shema, for posting those scriptures. My apologies for messing up the reading a little bit. We've been reading the book of Revelation. We've been studying. So ends the reading on the Sabbath daily, the Sabbath readings that we read. We've been looking at Revelation, and we started chapter 17, and we were studying and looking at the great whore. And I just want to remind us of a couple of things. The reason we're studying the book of Revelation, okay, is because of what the book of Revelation actually tells us in the first chapter, in the first verse. And let us notice again, Revelation chapter 1 and verse 1. We read it often, but we because our minds are a little dulled after 6,000 years of sin, we have to be reminded, just like we have to be reminded of what the Sabbath day is. It says, remember. So here, we're going to be reminded. Revelation chapter 1 and verse 1, notice what it says. The revelation of Yahushua Messiah, which Yahweh gave unto him, to show unto his servants things which must shortly come to pass. And he sent and signified it by his angel unto his servant Yachanan. So, or John. John is the English version of the Hebrew Yachanan. So we're seeing here that this revelation is a revelation or a revealing of the Messiah. It's revealing of the Messiah, which the Father gave to the Messiah for the purpose of showing his servants things which are going to happen on the earth. Okay, so the Father is warning us through the Messiah about things that are happening on the earth, for us to not be surprised, for us to not be overwhelmed, but for us to understand and be prepared. So the whole book of Revelation, which regards past, present, and future, is for the servants of the Most High to understand what is happening on earth and why it is happening. Right now, I think all of us know people, and maybe we were in this position at one time, where you see things happening on planet Earth, and you're wondering why. What does this mean? Why is this happening? Right? You look at news, you look at information, you look at situations, and you're saying, why does this happen? Why does this have to be? What does these things mean? And that's why we're studying the book of Revelation, because the Most High, through the Messiah, is showing us as his people all of these questions. Why? And what? Okay, he's showing us that. Okay, and who is behind it? He's showing us that. Okay, now, the key thing we must understand, okay, and this is difficult because of the deceptions of the enemy, what I'm about to say. The Bible was not written for anyone else but for the Hebrews and for those that are going to be joined to the Israelite nation. That's what this book was written for. When you look at the so-called Old Testament, all of the writings of the Old Testament are by Hebrew prophets. Israelite prophets wrote each one. All of the seed of Abraham. Okay? And all of the writings were on behalf of the seed of Abraham. Okay? So someone would then logically ask, what about the so-called New Testament? What about it? What was that written? Wasn't that written for the Gentiles? No. All four of the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, are showing us the life and times of the Messiah. Isn't that correct? I mean, I think everybody can agree. Even heathen can agree with that. That the four Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, are showing us the Messiah's life on earth, the history of his life from birth till death, and then resurrection. Okay? And in all four of those Gospels, Messiah was teaching and preaching and healing in Judea. Is that correct? There were a couple of instances where he healed outside of Judea. He might have healed a Samaritan, or he brought some hope to a Syrophoenician. But by and large, his whole ministry was among the Israelite people. When he first saw one of his disciples, Andrew, I believe it was, he said, "An Israelite indeed, in whom is no guile." It was to the point where at the end, when he was resurrected, 40 days later, when he was ascending back, where the angels told the disciples, the same Yahweh Shai that you see ascending shall so come in like manner as you have seen him come, he's going to come back. And he himself said, I go prepare a place for you, and I may come back and receive you unto myself, that where I am, you may be also. And they asked him a question. They said, will thou at this time restore the kingdom to Israel? To Israel. Why? Because they understood that his mission as Messiah was to restore the kingdom, that is the entire earth's kingdom, to Israel. That he came to bring repentance to Israel. And in fact, the angel Gabriel said, he came, his name shall be Yahweh Shai. They use Jesus, which doesn't exist. We know that the word Jesus, and I defy anybody to, the word Jesus does not exist in the Hebrew. And he is a Hebrew man. He is an Israelite from the tribe of Judah, and his name does not exist in his own language. Therefore, we understand out of ignorance, the English people wrote this name in this book. We understand that we've been given that wisdom from our Father, and we can excuse it because we understand where it comes from. And that's why we are awakening. So we know his Hebrew name is Yahweh Shai. Now, some might say Yeshua. I don't argue with that. Everybody's awakening in different places, and we're going to all come to know his name in the proper time. But for my conviction, it's Yahweh Shai. Yah exists to save. My conviction in study shows me that. Yours might say Yahushua. Okay. I'm not arguing with you, but it's not Jesus. We understand that. But his name means Yah exists to save. And it says, Gabriel said to Joseph and Mary, for he shall do what? He shall save his people from their sins. He shall save his people from their sins. Key thing being his people. His people. Okay? And we also know that when he was baptized, when he was born, there was a man and there was a woman that saw him as a baby, and they both prophesied. They both prophesied when they saw him as a baby. They prophesied, so that the parents were even astonished at the things that they were saying. Notice again, Luke chapter 2. Luke chapter 2. We're talking about the book of Revelation, but I just want to remind us of these things. Luke chapter 2. And let's go from Luke chapter 2, from verse 21 down to verse 32. Watch carefully what this prophet Simeon is saying. Notice what he says from verse 21 to verse 32, Luke chapter 2. Watch this. And when 8 days were accomplished for the circumcising of the child, his name was called Yahweh Shai, which was so named of the angel before he was conceived in the womb. And when the days of her purification according to the law of Moses were accomplished, and they brought him to Jerusalem to present him to Yahweh, as it is written in the law of Yahweh, every male that openeth the womb shall be called holy to Yahweh, and to offer a sacrifice according to that which is said in the law of Yahweh, a pair of turtle doves or 2 young pigeons. And behold, there was a man in Jerusalem whose name was Shimon. And the same man was just and devout, waiting for the consolation of Israel. Notice the consolation of Israel, and the Holy Ghost, or the set apart spirit, that is the Father's spirit, was upon him. And it was revealed unto him by the set apart spirit that he should not see death before he had seen Yahweh's Messiah. And he came by the Spirit into the temple. And when the parents brought in the child Yahushua to do for him after the custom of the law, then took he him up in his arms and blessed Yahweh and said, Yahweh, now lettest thy servant depart in peace according to thy word. For my eyes have seen thy salvation, which thou hast prepared before the face of all people, a light to lighten the Gentiles and the glory of thy people Israel. The glory of the Israelite people is Messiah. And he is a light to lighten the Gentiles from the nation of Israel. As we read also in the book of Revelation, the woman, which was the nation of Israel with the 12 stars, had the child. And the child was to rule all nations. Rule all nations. So this child come from among the 12 tribes. You cannot separate him from the 12 tribes. You cannot make him a blue-eyed European man. You cannot separate him from the tribe. Not if you're going to have the truth. If you want to create your own religion, which of course we know Christianity is, as well as Judaism, you want to create your own religion, you can make it whatever you want. But if you want the truth of this word that we're reading, you must understand this is an Israelite. This Messiah is an Israelite, and he's among the Israelites. And his first order of business is to convert and save the Israelite nation. And all the Gentiles shall come to thy light, what the Bible says. Thy light, that is the light, that is the Israelite light. Praise the Most High. Let me give you some scripture for that. Let me give you a witness. Isaiah chapter 60. Isaiah chapter 60. Notice what it says, Isaiah 60. And then again, you see, brothers and sisters, we don't argue. I'm giving this scripture to show why we're doing this, why we as Israelites are doing this. That's the purpose. We're not trying to be smarter than anybody. We're just trying to be prepared. We're trying to be prepared and obedient, right? Praise the Most High. Notice again, Isaiah 60 from verse 1 to verse 3. Isaiah 60. I also recommend you read this whole chapter when you get a chance. Isaiah 60 from verse 1 to 3. Notice what it says. Arise, shine, for thy light is come. He's talking to the Israelites. And the glory of Yahweh is risen upon thee. For behold, darkness shall cover the earth, and gross darkness the people. But Yahweh shall arise upon thee, and his glory shall be seen upon thee. And the Gentiles shall come to thy light, and kings to the brightness of thy rising. See, he's talking to his Israelite people. He's talking to his nation. Okay. And in fact, if you want to know that he's talking to his Israelite nation, which he's always talking to in all of his prophets, but let's look at the chapter before that. Notice again in the chapter before that, as we look at chapter 59, just leading into chapter 60, for the sake of context. Notice again from verse 20, from verse 19 to verse 21, Isaiah 59 from verse 19 to verse 21. Notice again, just in case you don't understand who he's talking to here. So shall they fear the name of Yahweh from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun. When the enemy shall come in like a flood, the spirit of Yahweh shall lift up a standard against him. And the Redeemer shall come to Zion, and unto them that turn from transgression in Jacob, saith Yahweh. As for me, this is my covenant with them, saith Yahweh. My spirit which is upon thee, and my words which have I put in thy mouth, shall not depart out of thy mouth, nor out of the mouth of thy seed, nor out of the mouth of thy seed's seed, saith Yahweh, from henceforth and forever. Who? The people of Jacob, Mount Zion. Let's go to chapter 60. Let's go to chapter 60, from verse 5 to verse 9. Just going to read this a little more so y'all understand what we read and what this is all about. Chapter 60, from verse 5 to 9. Then thou shalt see and flow together. Thy heart shall fear and be enlarged, because the abundance of the sea shall be converted unto thee. The forces of the Gentiles shall come to thee. The multitude of camels shall cover thee, the dromedaries of Midian and Ephah, all they from Sheba shall come, and they shall bring gold and incense, and they shall show forth the praises of Yahweh. All the flocks of Kedar shall be gathered together unto thee. The rams of Naboth shall minister unto thee. They shall come up with acceptance on mine altar, and I will glorify the house of my glory. Who are these that fly as a cloud and come as doves to their windows? Surely the isles shall wait for me, and the ships of Tarshish first, to bring thy sons from afar, their silver and their gold with them, unto the name of Yahweh thy Elohim, to the Holy One of Israel, because he hath glorified thee. See? So the glory is for Israel. These words are for Israel. This whole book is for Israel. And all the Gentiles that come, they're coming to Israelites. They're not taking the place of Israelites. They're coming to be grafted into Israelites. Okay? So until you come to this understanding, you will never understand the truth of the word. You won't understand it. You won't get the full. It'll be a complete mystery. It'll be a mystery. And everybody that's looking at it, that's now trying to get without this understanding, just like we were, they're looking through a glass darkly. What does that mean? You know, you see a glass, like you get a dark green glass, like some of the water comes in, and you're looking through it, and you can kind of see there's images through it, but you can't make out everything that it is. You're looking through a glass darkly. Like you see some things, but you're not seeing everything. That's Christianity. You understand? That's Christianity. You're looking through a glass dark. But the book of Revelation was written for the clarity, for his people to clearly see the light, to clearly understand what's going on, to clearly be prepared, because the Most High will do nothing but he reveals his secrets to his servants, the prophets. And here in the book of Revelation, we have been studying the whole thing. And the exciting part, of course, is we're living in the times of these things. See, even Yochanan, which is the prophet John, one of the disciples, one of the Israelite disciples of the Israelite Messiah, Yahushua, even he was given these things. And as he was given these things, remember, he's living in the 1st century. So a lot of the things for him are in the future. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like if the Messiah, which some of us, some of y'all, please type a 1 if the Most High has given you dreams. If the Most High has given you dreams, and some of those dreams came to pass, and some are yet to come to pass, has he given you all any dreams? I know he's given me some. And I'm not saying I'm a prophet. What I'm saying is he's showing me things, right? And so he shows you something. And when he shows it to you, right, it's to do with something happening in your future. Have you noticed that? Something's coming in the future. He don't show you, and it's not necessarily he shows you something that's going to happen like tomorrow. It could be 20 years from now. It could be 30 years. He gave me a dream once in the mid to late 80s where I was on the street preaching all the churches are corrupt. And at that time, I was in the Christian church and I didn't understand it. I said, well, it must be all the churches but mine. And then later on, here I am 30 years ago, 30 years later, preaching that very message that he showed me preaching in my dream 30 years before. Okay. So he's showing us something that's coming to pass at that moment where he's showing it to us. It may not come to pass right there. It may be years later. Sometimes it is a short time later. Sometimes it's weeks or months later, but sometimes it's years later. Well, with the Apostle John, he showed him things that's going to happen thousands of years later. He showed him things that were going to take centuries to come to pass. We need to understand that. So that we understand when he tells John in chapter 4 of the book of Revelation, come up hither and I will show thee things that must be hereafter. John is in the 1st century. We're in the 21st century. So we understand that some of the things John saw, which were in the future, is happening now because we are in the future. You understand? Compared to John, we're in the future. We're here. And so as we're seeing these things come to pass, not only are they from where we sit, there are things that still, like, for example, we know the Messiah is going to come and establish his kingdom in the nation of Israel. Well, not the state that we see now, but on that land, he's going to destroy what's there. He's going to redo this earth and he's going to establish his kingdom there. And the New Jerusalem is going to be there. And we're going to be in that kingdom. We understand that. That's yet to come. But right now, what we are studying in Revelation 17 is the rise of the great whore. We are seeing it. We saw it being prophesied about, and we're going to see more of its beginnings and origins. We talked about it last night. We studied it, and we saw that its origins start with the rebellion of Nimrod back in Genesis chapter 10. Now, Nimrod was a black man, a man of color. He was a melanated man. Let me put it that way for our people. He was a melanated man. Okay. But his rebellious traditions came from the melanation there, and it went all the way through, and it came all the way to the end, to the rebellion spread now to the sons of Yafet. You understand? To the non-melanated people, the sons of Yafet. Now here we are in the last days. And the Bible shows us that the great rebellion of the last days is based in Rome. And Rome is of the sons of Yafet. And we can understand why the Caucasian man seems to dominate on the earth, because it's prophesied. But what else is prophesied? His destruction is prophesied. His destruction, his hatred for the chosen are prophesied. That's why it says, the Bible says, he was drunken with the blood of the saints and the martyrs of Yahushua. This, see, when I was a Christian, and we look at this verse, we turn back to the Dark Ages, the Middle Ages, when the popes had their Spanish Inquisition and their crusades and their Inquisition to force people into Catholicism. And we thought that was the saints they were talking about. I'm not saying those people in their ignorance weren't, but the true saints, when the Bible talks about saints, brothers and sisters, it's talking about Israelites. And the Israelites were persecuted by the sons of Yafet. Talk the truth now. The Israelites have been persecuted by the sons of Yafet. That is the truth about it. Not just 1 year, not just 100 years, but for thousands of years. Persecuted by the sons of Yafet for more than 1,000 years. Okay? We know this. We know this. Our fathers have lived it. We're not guessing. We don't have to guess about that. There are some people that are trying to deny that there was actually a slave trade. I mean, do you believe that? There are some people that are actually trying to propagate and deny that there was a slave trade. It's amazing. But I was just telling my wife this morning, which I'm going to share with you right now. It is no coincidence that we are living in what is now being called the information age. We are living in the information age, and all types of information is being revealed and disseminated. It's no coincidence that we live in an age of a Google, of an internet. We live in an age where we can find out things that were secret before, where things now are looking clear from the past that we didn't understand before. See, people look at it to try to get all kind of information, but we as the Israelite people understand the Most High is revealing to us the truth of where we come from, who we are, why we came through it, and where we're going. Okay? Yeah. Now, understanding we're in the information age, the Messiah did say that there is nothing hidden that will not be revealed. There is nothing hidden that will not be revealed. People try to hide stuff they did, it's going to be revealed. People try to hide their sins and go to their grave with secrets like a lot of these elites do. It's going to be revealed. He that converteth a sinner from the error of his way shall save a soul from death, that is eternal death, and shall hide a multitude of sins. You see, brothers and sisters, he that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide in the shadow of the Almighty. You see, all of our sins that we have done in secret will be washed away as we confess them to the Most High, as we confess what we did, as we repent from what we did, turn around to the road of righteousness and truth. Huh? He'll keep our stuff and wash it away from the most holy place of the heavenly sanctuary. Yes, he will. Through the blood of the Messiah, we praise the Most High. That through Messiah, we become the righteousness of the Father. You think I'm lying? Notice what the scripture says again. Let me give you a witness. Let me give you a witness of the word. We given plenty of witnesses this morning. But let us look at 2 Corinthians chapter 5. One of my daughter Jessica's favorite verses, one of mine too. 2 Corinthians chapter 5. Notice again, 2 Corinthians 5, verse 21. And it's only one verse, but it's a very powerful verse. It's extremely powerful. I mean, if you really contemplate, meditate on what this verse is saying. 2 Corinthians 5:21, it's powerful. Notice what it says. Notice what it says. For he has made him, and you have to understand who he and him is, that is, the Father hath made the Son, Messiah, to be sin for us, that is, you Israelites, who knew no sin, that we, the Israelite nation, might be made the righteousness of Yahweh in the Messiah. The Father made the Messiah to be sin for us. Messiah knew no sin. He was not intimate with sin. He was not in sin. He never sinned. But Father made him to be sin for us, that we might be turned into Yahweh's righteousness. Oh, man, it's so heavy. Isn't that sweet? No matter how filthy you were, you can become the righteousness of the Father through Messiah. See, that's why the Christians don't understand. They really don't get it, man. They don't, and they can't. You can't. They can't get it. They can't get it because they don't understand from the beginning that this whole book is for the Israelite nation. They don't understand. It's for the Israelite. And let me make this even clearer for y'all. It's for the Israelite man to be awakened first. I need y'all to hear me now. The Israelite man is the most attacked man on planet Earth. He's the one that Asatan wants to destroy and wipe off the planet. If he could just have Israelite women, he has no problem because he can get them to be with him. You understand? But the Israelite man has to be awakened. You sisters, pray for your Israelite men. Pray and fast that they might be awakened to this truth, because that's how this movement is designed to go forward from your Israelite man. It's how it's supposed to go forward now. Never mind all this sexism and racism and this ism and that ism and women's liberationism. Never mind all of these man-made, Caucasian, Eurocentric beliefs and tools. That ain't got nothing to do with the nation of Israel. Nothing. They're all designed to hold back and destroy the Israelite man. Just like Pharaoh said. Remember what Pharaoh said. Never forget what Pharaoh said. If it's a man, throw it in the river. Kill it. If it's a woman, save it alive. Of the Hebrews, what he said. Those words have reverberated through the centuries to where we are right now, because it is the same policy. It is the same policy. That's right. Prayers for our husbands and for just the men of Israel in general to awaken up, because this thing goes forward with them. It's prophesied. 144,000 are all men. All men. That doesn't mean there's not going to be women among them. And let me just explain this again, because a lot of sisters never heard this. Let me break this down for you. There were only 12 apostles. Ain't no more apostles but 12. Just 12. And they're only 12 because these are the only 12 men that Messiah himself met face to face and chose and sent. But that doesn't mean they're the only ones that are saved. Y'all understand? That doesn't mean that at the time of their lives, there were other people that were prophets. There were other people that were blessed with the Spirit. But those are the only 12 apostles. You hear what I'm saying? It's the same with the 144,000. It's the same thing. There are only 144,000 men. That doesn't mean there are not other people with them. Know that Noah was the only prophet to get on the ark. He was the only prophet on that ark. But there were 7 with him. Are you okay? There were 7 with him. He was the only prophet on the ark. But there were 7 with him. There's no such, that's right. There's no such thing as a woman apostle. And as we know, the scriptures do show us in many places, which Christians try to ignore in this whole man-made religion thing. They try to ignore all the scriptures that show you these things that I'm saying. And again, I mean, the Israelite woman that I'm speaking to will understand. I'm not trying to down the woman. Don't get caught up in this sexism stuff. But the highest level for all of us is to be obedient to the commandments of our Father. Right? That's the highest level we can reach, to be obedient to the commandments of our Father. Okay? And he has chosen the woman to be the mother of the nation. He has chosen the woman to be the one, the hand that forms the nation. From her body comes the nation. He has chosen her to be a representation of the nation, in that he calls the nation a comely and delicate woman. He has chosen her to be the virtue of the nation. As clean as she keeps herself, as honorable as she keeps herself, there's an honor in the nation. But he has chosen the man to be the head, because the man was made in the image, the very image of the Father. The woman was made as his helpmeet, but the man is made in the very image of the Father. We need to understand these things clearly, and there'll be no abuse of women. There'll be no women trying to be men and claiming to be apostles and claiming to be pastors and all this. That's for the Christian church. That's not for the Israelite nation. Neither is it for these rascals out here putting these uniforms on, having 3 and 4 women can't even support themselves. Using the word to justify their fleshly desires. Huh? Notice Isaiah chapter 3. Isaiah chapter 3 and verse 12. Isaiah 3 and verse 12. Notice what it says, Isaiah 3:12. As for my people, watch, this is showing where we are right now, praise Yah. Notice what it says, Isaiah 3:12. As for my people, children are their oppressors, and women rule over them. O my people, they which lead thee cause thee to err, and destroy the way of thy paths. That's where we are. That's where we are right now. See, the whole object is to destroy the men. Couple things, you know why? Because if you destroy the men, the Asatan is thinking, we can stop this movement. We can stop it. We destroy all the black men. We can stop this movement. And if we destroy them before they have any babies, we can stop their growth. Now, we know that's not going to happen because the Most High has brought us through centuries of oppression, exploitation. He's brought us through. And as he has prophesied, as we're looking at Revelation, he has shown us, not only has he brought us through, he's about to bring us to glory. Praise the Most High Yah. See, because we know very well, when our Father says something, it's 100% guaranteed to come to pass. 100% guaranteed. There is nothing that's going to stop his word. When he said, when I loose my word, it's going to prosper in the thing that I send it. You cannot stop it. The only question is who's going to be a part of the movement and who's going to be a hindrance to the movement. Who's going to be down with the movement and who's going to be with Asatan working against the movement. That's the only issue. And that will be made manifest because here we are in the information age, as we said. All things are going to be made manifest, brothers and sisters. Nothing's going to be hidden. People could try to act like they with the movement and they really agents to try to destroy it. They could do that. But it's okay. It'll be made manifest. As Ananias and Sapphira were made manifest to the Israelites in the first century to be traitors. It'll be made manifest. We don't even need to accuse each other the way Asatan accuses the brethren. We don't need to do that. What we need to do is focus on the Spirit of the Father. He will reveal everything. See, you want to know what's happening? He will show you by his Spirit and his word. He will show you. He will show you. It's all there. See, it starts with faith. First thing somebody will ask me is, how do you know God exists? Because his Spirit has touched my spirit and conferred with my spirit for me to know that there's a creator. I asked him which way I should go. He points me to this Bible. I asked him what's the truth of this Bible. He shows me what it is. He reveals to me the things that I need to know because I have desired to serve my creator. I have desired to serve the one that made the sky, the trees, the animals. I want to know who that is because obviously it was made by somebody. Yesterday I was talking to a man. This man was Caucasian. And this man was Caucasian man, and he's very intelligent young man, like 23, 24, young man, very intelligent young man. And he said to me, and he doesn't really believe in any religions. He said, I ain't crazy. He said, I know there's a creator. This Caucasian man said to me, he said, I know there's a creator, obviously. But he mocks all of these different religions because he knows he's too intelligent to see that any of these religions, these Christianity doesn't mean anything. He's too intelligent. He sees the hypocrisy of it. But he says, I know there's a creator. See, you'd have to be a fool. That's why the Bible says a fool says there's no Most High, because obviously something made the trees, something made the birds, something made the clouds, something made the sky blue, something made it to exist, obviously. And even if you are totally ignorant, there's a question which I once asked myself, which caused me to be where I am right now teaching you. What question was that? I got on my knees to the creator and I said, listen, I know there's a creator out there. I know you're out there. I'm not sure your name. I know what people want to call you, but I want to know who you are. I want to follow you. I need you to show me yourself. And here I am. See, when you pray that prayer, he's going to answer you. He's going to answer you because the Bible says very plainly, he seeketh such to worship him. He seeketh such to worship him. He wants an honest and earnest heart that's desiring to give glory to the Creator, not to any church, not to any building. And then he gives you the wisdom. He said, wisdom's the principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom. And with all thy getting, get understanding. That comes from the Creator, whose wisdom and understanding is without limit. And he's willing to share that. He said, become partakers of what? The divine nature. And escape the corruption that is in the world through lust, the divine nature. You can't, we're not born with that. We're born with a human nature. We're born with a carnal nature. We're born with that. We understand death. We can see it every day. But he wants us to be partakers of something higher. And he offers it to us. And by faith, we receive it. We take it. And then he shows us more. And he gives us wisdom. And he guides our steps to where we're at right now. And this is part of our journey. All of us on a journey. We haven't arrived yet. When we stand under the sea of glass, on the sea of glass and under the tree of life and eating and bringing glory to the Father who will be in our presence, bringing glory to the Messiah who will be in our presence with all the saints from all the ages. Yeah, we arrived then. Praise the Most High. But right now, we ain't arrived yet. We still on this earth. This earth is not our home in the present state. We are all captives in Babylonian society. All of us are. We're under the corporation God. That's where we at right now. The corporation God. The God of the corporation. Notice about a corporation. A corporation is not a person, right? And yet it exists. Like you can't see it as an entity. You could just see the signs of it. You might see buildings, you might see commercials and signs, but you see, so the corporation is the God of the fathers that they knew not. And the biggest corporation entities on the earth are not AT&T. It's not Intel. The biggest corporations on earth are not IBM. No, not Yahoo, or Google, or even Amazon. No, the biggest corporation, the most powerful corporation on earth is the Christian church. And the head of all of those corporations is the Roman Catholic Church. Biggest corporation on earth, most powerful one, top of the pile. And we're being shown this in the book of Revelation. So don't be surprised that the heathen, if you ever shared this with a heathen and they laugh at you, don't be surprised, brothers and sisters. This stuff is revealed to the Israelite nation, not revealed to the heathen. And it will be revealed to heathen and Gentiles as they understand that the true God, the only true God is among the Israelites, that they might know thee, Yahushua told the Most High Yah, the God of Israel, the only true God, and the Messiah whom thou hast sent is only one. See, now these heathen have taken him and put him in Europe. And they made a European religion out of him. And they changed they take away his melanation, and they take away him from being a melanated man to being a Caucasian son of Japhet. And they made all the children of Israel be son of Japhet, right? And they say all they're based in Europe. They done changed it. But that's their own religion. Remember, the Most High Father taught us that we're supposed to keep his commandments, statutes, and judgments, and don't change or add to his word. That's why we'll be worshiping him. We'll know we're worshiping him. We don't change his word. We don't say, oh, the law is done away with. Or we don't try to change the words of the Apostle Paul. Say, oh, the New Testament is not inspired. No, we don't go that way. The whole thing's inspired. The whole thing's written for the Israelite nation. The whole thing. Praise the Most High Yah. If we don't understand, just say we don't understand. See, that's what a lot of people do in their pride. They come out because they don't understand the words of the Apostle Shaul. They start saying, well, it's not inspired. And others say, well, he changed the law and done away with it, because they don't understand. Their pride won't let them just say, I don't understand. I need to know more. I need the Father to show me. No, their pride won't let them do that. They got to be right. So they got to say, oh, it's done away with. They don't understand. Especially this is true among teachers. And pray for me. I'm appointed a teacher in the nation. And I got to stay humble. I can't ever say I know everything. Can't ever say that. Then I'll be denying the Father, because he hasn't shown me everything. He hasn't shown any teacher. Listen to me carefully, Ox and Akas. He hasn't shown any teacher everything. And he did that purposely. So all the teachers need each other. And the teachers teach and hear each other as well. He hasn't given one person, one man, all the knowledge, because that would cause that man or that person to be exalted as a god. That's why he had to put Moses to sleep. He was leading the nation through Moses, and Moses sinned against him. So he had to put Moses to sleep. He had to put him in a grave. He could not let him cross into the promised land, because he can't let the nation think that it's a man that's leading them, that's not the Most High. You understand? Moses is not the Savior. Neither was Joshua. So there's no teacher on this planet that's going to have all the answers. But I want to tell you this for sure. This one's been shown to me. As all of us that are appointed teachers in these last days continue to surrender to the Most High, to seek his spirit, to seek his righteousness, he will show us more and more and more. And the day's going to come when all of us, all the teachers of the Israelite nation, are going to be on the same page. That is the 144,000. I'm noticing. Many of you are noticing also. I'm noticing. I've talked to brothers. I've talked to Ox from different places, right? On phone, by phone, on the internet, we've connected. And I've noticed that the way that the Most High is leading me is the same way he's leading them. And we have never talked before. Like he leads me to fast now. I'm being in fasting mode for like a year and a half more. He's been pressing me to fast and keep fasting as part of my life. It's not like a temporary thing. And I noticed he said the same thing to them. And what he's convicted me on, somebody say something, and I'm convicted. The Spirit convicts me. And I say something, and they're convicted. The Spirit convicts them. He's leading us. We're not in the same places, but he's leading and guiding us, directing our paths in the way we should go. And it's the same voice, because it's but one Father. He had but one Holy Ghost. It's 7 spirits before his throne, but 7 is just a complete number to let you know that no matter where it is, everywhere. It's perfect, all-knowing, all-powerful. 7. And it's the same Spirit. It's the Father's Spirit. And we recognize that. Our spirit bears witness. See, that's why I know I am so confident. I'm so confident that nothing's going to stop this movement. Nothing is going to stop it. I'm so confident, because it's not of man. It's not by man. It's by the Father's Spirit. And the Father's Spirit will not be stopped. It's just a matter of time. He's allowing Asatan to do what he does to separate the sheep from the goats. Those that want to follow Asatan and all his deceptions, they're going to go that way. Those that want to give the Father glory alone, they're going to go that way. It's going to be shown. All things will be revealed. Nothing will be hidden. And at the day of judgment, when all of us stand before the throne of the Messiah, all things will be shown. Nothing to be hidden. 100% truth will be revealed about every human being, by every person. Everything will be revealed. So now we're looking at Revelation 17, and what have we learned? What have we seen? We've seen the rise of the great whore, who has traditions from ancient Babylon, who operates in secret, who is the controller and operator of all other false religions. They call her the great whore. And we studied, as the Bible represents whoredom in the nation of Israel, it's a representation of his people worshiping other gods. And remember, we studied this last night. It was, I think, of 2 Kings chapter 11, we looked at where the other gods of the other nations are called abominations. They're called abomination because when you are taking any other God, any other law, any other statute and judgment that the Most High Creator hasn't given you, you have just created an abomination. And all the religions of the earth that don't follow the one true God are abominations to the Most High. Now, some people will take this and say, well, that's kind of mean. But I want you to understand something. He is always seeking for those people whose hearts want to know who the Creator really is. He's always seeking for them. I don't care where they are, what country they are, what religion they've been brought up in. That doesn't matter. And he's always going to make sure that those people that belong to him and don't just too ignorant because of the amount of deception. Remember what he told Thyatira? Remember that. I will lay upon you no other burden. Thyatira represented the times of the power of the Roman Catholic Church, of the dark ages, of the Crusades, of the Inquisition. And many people didn't know any better. The darkness was steep and dark and deep for 1,000 years. And he said, I'll lay upon you no other burden, because that's all they knew. So he knows those. See, they're especially among the Caucasians, how he's going to judge everybody? Everybody doesn't have the same religion. Listen, he knows those that are his. But as a general rule, he's going to show you his commandments, statutes, and judgments. And he has ordained his Israelite people, especially his men, to bring this message forth in these last days. So that everybody's not going to have an excuse. Some people want to be willfully ignorant. That's not going to save them in the day of judgment. That's not going to save them in these plagues that are already starting. We're getting the warm up right now. We're getting the dress rehearsal. We just talked about what happened over there in Indonesia last night. We're already getting the dress rehearsals. And more to come. More to come. Okay? We've already seen it. We've been watching it now for many decades, haven't we? Earthquakes, tsunamis, tornadoes, diseases. We've been watching it for many years. Now, here we are in the autumn. In America, it's autumn. In Australia and below the equator, it's spring, but in America, it's autumn, and above the northern hemisphere, it's autumn. And they telling everybody, what you got to do now? Go get flu shots. Go get flu shots. Now, in spite of the flu shots, they say that more people died of the flu last year than any other time. More people died of the flu last year than any other time. This is in spite of the flu shots. Well, that leads me to think, well, wait a minute. Is the flu shots killing us? Or is it the flu? All of these are signs. Okay? And you're going to get more and more of that. And it's going to become more and more intense as we get closer to the destruction that is soon to come on this planet. So we see this great whore. We know she's based in Europe, specifically in Rome. The Bible has shown us that from Daniel chapter 7, Daniel chapter 2, Daniel chapter 8. It has shown us that plainly. We're going to look at more of Daniel chapter 8 today. Okay? It has shown us that, and what the people of the world do not see, do not understand, is this man that runs around in a white suit with a fake Jewish cap on his head. That's a fake cap on his head. He runs around in a private jet, giving the cross sign to everybody and so-called blessing everybody. He's directly from the devil. He works for Asatan. Asatan is giving him power, seat, and authority. Asatan tries to make his church as some sort of copy of the ancient Israelite nation, with his incense and with his priests and all of this. That's right. And he got the whole world fooled. You see, in order for people to follow Asatan and his beliefs, it's got to be made to look attractive. Nobody wants to look at evil and call it evil and follow it and say, I'm just following evil. No, you got to let evil look attractive. It's got to be attractive. It's got to appeal to your senses. It's got to make you feel good. And it's sort of like these opiates. You know, we're in an opiate. They call it what are they calling it? An opiate epidemic. Have you guys heard that? We're in an opiate epidemic. Now, when they were throwing crack cocaine at the Israelite brothers, when they were dumping crack into the neighborhoods and creating ghettos. And listen, something bothered me the other day. I just want to say, there was this melanated man that stood up and said black people created ghettos because we lazy. Oh, that made me so mad. That made me so mad. Don't ever listen to anybody tell you black people created ghettos. It was U.S. government created ghettos. We didn't create no ghetto. They herded us into these areas. And we had no problem at first. Then they started putting drugs in our neighborhood. They brought crack from South America. They did that. That was made in the CIA laboratory. Don't ever start talking about we did this. That's for the ignorant Caucasian people to believe. Don't you believe that? We didn't try to kill ourselves. We're not out here just shooting ourselves for nothing. They providing the guns, they providing the drugs, they providing the unemployment, they providing the lack of education. They are setting the situation up for us to be slaves and destroy ourselves. Everything's being revealed. Don't fall into that ignorance. And then you got other people. The only way out for us to run our own business, for us to be self-employed. This is utter foolishness. I know people are going to be mad at me, but I'm appointed to teach, and I got to tell y'all the truth. Let me ask you, if you run business, when you get paid on your business, how are you getting paid? How are you getting paid? When you run a business, let's say you have your own business, you make widgets, you sell whatever, you open a store, how are you being paid? By what means are you being paid? Can you tell me? When you are paid, when you run a grocery store or a deli, or you have a cleaning business or whatever business you have, you get paid by the dollar. The dollar pays you, right? If that dollar is on a credit card and you swipe it and somebody puts that in your account, it is based in US dollars. The dollar is an instrument that was created by the Federal Reserve Bank. It says it on the dollar itself, Federal Reserve Note. That dollar wasn't created by the creator. It was taken from a tree and printed and given value by the powers of Babylon. Since they created that dollar, they can do with that dollar what they want. It's not ours. We didn't create it. They can take it from you. They can add it to you. It's theirs. So no matter what you do, no matter what business you're in, no matter how you're getting whatever you're getting, it's a dollar. And it can be taken from you. You say, but the laws are... You know, we've been running to the government looking for handouts, looking for help since we've been in this country. Government never helps us. Our help only comes from the Creator. Now, the Creator might induce the governments to do some things. You know, more people died during the Civil War than any war the United States was ever involved in. More Americans died in the Civil War. Why? It wasn't that Abraham Lincoln wanted to free the slaves. The Creator said, I'm going to take y'all out of chains so I can give you this book that they've been smacking you over the head with. I'm going to show you some things in this book. I'm going to show you who you are to this very book that they've been smacking you in the head with, telling you the sons of Ham and you cursed. I'm going to show you who you are to this very book. So I'm going to take them chains off you. Because remember, when we was in chains, it was illegal for us to learn to read in English. It was illegal. If any of us was to learn to read, they would kill us. They wanted us to stay animals and in ignorance, but the Most High said, I'm gonna punish them. And so 500,000 of them died, killing each other for these chains to be taken off of us. Oh, that didn't stop them from trying to destroy us, but it allowed us to be able to read the scriptures. Okay? We have never gotten anything from the government that has really helped us. Never. Every time they give us something, they take two other things away and act like they're doing us a favor. You see? So creating black businesses ain't the way to our salvation. It's not going to change anything. And you saw and I saw. I mean, how many of y'all have ever heard of a place called Rosewood? How many of y'all have ever heard of Tulsa, Oklahoma and the Black Wall Street? Have you ever heard of these places? What happened really? Let me just break it down in just a minute for you. Less than 60 seconds. We started prospering on our own. The Caucasian man saw it and destroyed it. Is that correct or not? Am I telling the truth? We started prospering on our own with the US dollar, and the Caucasian man saw it and destroyed it. Let me tell you something. 100% of the time that will happen. 100% of the time that will happen. Okay? Let me show you what else has been revealed. Malcolm X, one of my favorite human beings that I've ever studied about that I never met on this planet. I really love Malcolm X. I understand he was ignorant on a lot of things, but he was trying to help his people with an earnest heart. He had his faults, but he was trying to help his people with an earnest heart. He wasn't trying to take he wasn't taking no money from anybody that wasn't one of his people. He was trying to help his people, and he died to do that. Malcolm X was part of the Nation of Islam, and the Nation of Islam still does and had businesses, many businesses, and they were bringing in a lot of money with these businesses. Do you know who gave them the initial money? Listen carefully now. Malcolm X revealed this before he was murdered. Who gave them the initial money to start these businesses? Where did it come from? You want to know where it came from? You're going to trip. It came from the Ku Klux Klan. The Ku Klux Klan and white supremacists gave them the money. Why did white supremacists fund them? Because it wanted us to gather in one place, wanted to create a race war for our ultimate destruction. That's what they want. They still want it. They want a race war. That's why you got these knucklehead rednecks running around trying to talk about this. There's going to be a race war, and they getting all types of guns, and they getting all types of ammunition, and they're prepared for this race war. Ain't going to be no race war. They're trying to draw us in. That's why you got people like Alex Jones out here talking all this foolishness. And what Alex Jones does, he gives you enough truth of what is going on behind the scenes to excite you to opposition, to excite you to do something stupid so that you can be taken away. That's all he's doing. Trying to call out the people that will take action quickly. They all work for the same people. Don't trust any of these movements. Only trust your Father in heaven and his word as he shows it to you. Nothing is as it seems, brothers and sisters. This is the art of deception. Nothing is as you think it is. Only way you can, that's right, exactly right. That's why right now, notice what you got. You got Democrat and Republican, right? Republicans call themselves conservative and Democrats call themselves progressive. And the so-called progressive tries to talk about they the friends of black people. Most of the time when you see a progressive, if you see black people among them, it's homosexual males and females that are above the males. That's what you see most of the time, okay? That's their agenda. Their agenda is to destroy us, to destroy the black male. It is the Democrats that brought out Planned Parenthood. It is them that brought out Planned Parenthood to destroy the black male. Okay? They push the homosexual agenda. They do that. Okay? They do that. They're trying to destroy us. They're not on our side. And they have convinced a lot of the young people that they are, because young people are impressionable. That's why these college age and teenage people, they think progressive is the way to go. Most of them, if you look at Caucasian people that are that age group, they're mostly progressive. Because they've been convinced that those people are helping us and they're trying to destroy us. They're trying to take away our manhood. They're trying to take away the men, period. They're trying to raise up the women. Listen, black women ain't got no fight with the Caucasian man. The black man is not trying to keep back. There's never been a black man that took a job from a black woman. There's never been a melanated man that tries to keep back the black woman. That's never happened. The Caucasian man is the one they fight with. That ain't got nothing to do with us, but they've convinced them that their fight is against all men, see? No, the real object of the destruction is the melanated man, the Israelite man. That's what it's coming down to. And this Bible is revealing all to us. So this power from Europe that's full of abominations and filthiness, this is the Roman church, because it is through religion that masses of people are controlled. Through religion. That they control the masses of the people. And then they combine that with Hollywood. Hollywood teaches us what the American dream is. Where do you think they got that? The American dream came from Hollywood. Came from Hollywood. And who founded Hollywood? Ashkenazis. Ashkenazi Jews. And they tried to project what the American dream is, and they got everybody chasing that dollar. They got everybody chasing that dollar and trying to get that American dream. They come from other countries for it. Okay? But for the Israelite, the dream, the true dream is the kingdom of the Father and of the Messiah of the Israelite nation. That's the hope of this earth. That's the true hope. So let's continue. Revelation chapter 17. So we left off at verse 6. So let's start there. Actually, I want to start at verse 5 and read verse 6 as we started off. We finished up there last night. Revelation 17, verse 5 and 6. Notice what it said. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of Yahushua. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. She's overwhelming. She's powerful. Listen, I'd be lying and you'd be lying too if you didn't see the tanks, the armory, the guns, the power of the United States government and the governments with her. If you'd be lying if you didn't look and see the Pope and all his red masses and his beautiful robes that he puts on in his big buildings, and you weren't impressed. You would be lying because it is impressive. And they are behind the destruction of us and our people. And so he wondered with great admiration. She was a beautiful whore. There is such a thing as a beautiful whore, right? I mean, they put it in pornography pictures all the time. They don't just put homely women in there. They put beautiful women in there for you to be lusting after them, for you to be admiring them. And I'm not talking about just pornography in terms of pornographic movies. Just in general, they got the common woman looking like whores. People think that some of these entertainers, they got them dressing like whores, and they got the young women trying to emulate them. Whereas you walking around with half your behind showing, and if you got yourself in any kind of shape and you got your abdominals showing, people look, and that's whoredom, man. That's straight up lust and whoredom. And you wonder why people ain't staying together. Because that stuff don't last. Ask any woman. Stuff starts to sag. You could try to look good, but stuff starts to sag. It doesn't last. There's more than just the physical thing, man. Gotta be some spirit there. But he's wondering with great admiration at this whore. Okay. See, I always think like this since the Most High opened my mind to these things. When I see a woman dressed like that, I think she's lonely and she's foolish because some dude's gonna look at her and gonna jump into her. And if she gets conned into letting him have her, he gonna dump her and go on because the beauty only lasts for so long. And then it's so long. Huh? Right? It only lasts for so long. And then the guy says, so long. Right? Now to the next one. See? He combined that with the way we've been trained in slavery when they kept breaking up our families. You combine that, and that now you got brothers that don't even know how to be a man, to stay with one woman and to be really the head of his house. Men don't even know how to do that. Men being raised by a woman because the brother's been taken out of the home. And women can't really, I mean, they could try and they could raise them some. And people will praise you when a single woman has raised a man. But really, a man needs a man. And it all starts with this whole thing of women trying to be provocative. See? Provocative. There's a reason that he covered up Eve and Adam with the skins of animals. That is a deep thing that most women overlook, especially these idiots out here trying to claim that they should be naked. I mean, there's a reason that he had them, they were naked and they didn't know it. Why didn't they know it? Because they were covered in light. And when they went and sinned against Most High, the light was gone and they were naked. And they tried to cover themselves up with leaves and it didn't work. And then the Most High gave them skins to cover their nakedness. A woman's nakedness is not supposed to be seen by everybody. It's only supposed to be seen by one man. You understand? It's only supposed to be seen by one, her husband. He's the only one that's supposed to behold her nakedness. His nakedness is supposed to be seen by her, and her nakedness is supposed to be seen by him. That's the only people that's supposed to see your nakedness. You're not supposed to walk out on the earth for everybody to see what your thighs look like, how tight your buttocks are, how pushed up your breasts are. Not everybody's supposed to see that. That's not for you to advertise. Now, I'm not advocating to be dressed like Muslims where the only thing you're covered that's open is your eyes. That's kind of ridiculous. I'm not talking about that, but I think we understand the difference between modesty and immodesty, right? I think we understand that. It's not, the Most High Spirit will convict you what is modest and what is not. To show yourself is not holy. But you see, in the earth, the way the world is under the great whore, people think that looks good. Okay, so let's continue. Revelation 17, let's go to verse 7. Revelation 17, verse 7. And the angel said unto me, wherefore didst thou marvel? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman and of the beast that carrieth her, which hath the 7 heads and the 10 horns. Now, this is very interesting. It says he told John, the angel that was carrying, that showed him, that carried one of the 7 vials of wrath. He said, I'm gonna show you why are you marveling at this whore? Don't be amazed at what her body looks like and how dressed she is. Don't be amazed at that. Don't be overwhelmed at that. This is a whore here. Everybody has had her. You don't want none of that. She's rebellious against the Most High. Don't be admiring her. Let me show you the mystery. Let me show you the secret about her. Tell you about her. The beast that carrieth her, which has 7. I'm gonna tell you all about her. You know, I was naive like everybody else in a lot of areas, especially when I was younger. And I would sometimes judge a woman based on her face, on her eyes. I still kind of do it because it does reveal a lot to me. A woman's eyes reveal a lot. But when I was younger, I would see a woman with a mild looking face, or a girl. I was a boy at the time, like in my teens, early 20s, mild looking face, very pretty skin. And I said, oh, she's pure. 9 times out of 10, I found out the opposite. That a lot of other dudes had also found that same thing and went the same way, right? And I wasn't the only one that noticed that, and the only one that experienced it. Y'all know what I'm saying. And so I was fooled by the mildness of the face and the mildness of the eyes and the pretty smile. Just the same thing in the opposite way. Women see a man and he got a nice smile, he got nice eyes, and you think, oh, what a nice man. Ooh, and you find out later, ooh, you wish you had never talked to that man. You wish you'd have walked away that day, right? Mm-hmm. And so what you see is not what you get. What you see is not always what you get. There's a mystery that you don't know anything about, right? You looking on the outside and you can't see on the inside, and there's a mystery about what you don't know anything about. That's here. John saw the outside of this whore. Oh, she was pretty. Oh, she was hot looking. Oh man, and she looked nice. But there's a mystery about her, bruh. Let me show you. And see, because you and I are not equipped to see the heart of a person, how are we supposed to know? You're supposed to let the spirit of your father reveal the heart to you, and he will. See, if a man or a woman in this day and age, see today, people, and this is another thing, I'm touching on all kinds of subjects today, so bear with me as the spirit is guiding my steps. Listen, people are so afraid of being alone. They're so afraid that they jump in on the internet very quickly and they're looking for people so that they don't have to be alone. They're looking for a mate. They don't want to be by themselves. And society has taught you that being alone is some sort of curse, right? Isn't that true? I mean, it taught you. And they don't give themselves time. And simply, that's all it takes is time. It takes time for you to make sure that you are ready for a mate. It takes time for you to make sure that the person you're with should be your mate. Sometimes it takes years. I know people don't want to hear that. Sometimes it takes years because either we don't see clearly that the Most High has chosen this person for us, or because we don't want to, because it's not what we would choose for ourselves, or we want the person so bad we don't see clearly to be objective as to should this person be with me, right? And so if we wait and pray, the Spirit of the Father will give us in time, should we be with that person? He will show us. But most people don't give it that time to wait, to take away your desire to say, oh, that man's so handsome, or oh, that woman is so hot, I want to be with her. And to back up for a second and say, wait a minute, let me see her heart. Let the Father reveal to me his heart. Let me fast so that my mind is clear. And many times people hook up with the person, and that's the last person they should be with. That's the last, and y'all know the truth because y'all have been in this situation. I'm not talking something that y'all don't understand. Sometimes you hook up with somebody, and that's the last person on earth you should have been with. That's the last one you should have been with. Because at first you were attracted to them. You felt an attraction. And your feelings can be manipulated. But the Spirit of the Father cannot be manipulated. Your feelings can be manipulated. And that's why, brothers and sisters, you can't go by that. And like I was telling somebody say, if you see another woman, what's your wife think? I said, listen, I'm a man. I'm gonna look at a woman, especially if she's showing her behind. I'm not gonna say I don't notice her behind poking out like that. I'm not gonna say you can't see it. So you could be attracted to hundreds of people. That don't mean you're supposed to be with hundreds of people. You understand what I'm saying? I'm just being real. Or a woman could see a man and say, oh, that man fine. That doesn't mean she's gonna be with him. My wife says it all the time. What's the actor you like? What's the guy's name? Sean Connery. Man, she sees Sean Connery, she start tripping. But I understand if she likes the way that whatever about Sean Connery she like, that's just how it is. Hey, that don't mean she gonna be with Sean Connery. That don't mean if Sean Connery is in front of her, she gonna drop me to be with Sean Connery. She can't help but what she sees. It's there. You understand? So you could be attracted to hundreds of people. That don't mean you're gonna be with hundreds of people. See, in this day and age, we have equated attraction to mean, oh, we're supposed to be with them. No. You're supposed to be with who the Spirit of the Father chooses for you, because he is all wise and he knows the best. You want somebody tall, dark, and handsome. He might give you somebody short and bald, but that person's going to make you happy, right? You're a man, you want 28, 20, what is it? 38, 24, 36, 36, 24, 36, or whatever. He might give you somebody that's 36, 36, 36. But you're going to be happy with that person if he chose them. You can't trust your feelings. You understand? You got to go by what the Father's Spirit, and his Spirit will reveal to you who's supposed to be for you. And that person, if you trust the Father, that person will make you the happiest. You may not believe it because of your own weak judgment, but if you surrender to the Father after he has shown you if you're supposed to be with somebody and who that person is, and his Spirit has revealed the heart to you, that's going to make you the happiest. And I told sisters sometimes, I said, you know what? Sometimes the person that's for you, right? And you wouldn't have chose that person for yourself, but it's been revealed to you. I'm just trying to be honest. It's been revealed to you that person is for you. That's sometimes your ministry. That's your ministry, especially you sisters. Your ministry is the man that you have in your life. If the Most High has the man in your life, that's your ministry. You need to understand that's given to you as a ministry. Your family is your ministry. If that man is for you, if the Spirit of the Most High has put you together and is clearly showing you you're supposed to be with that man, that's your ministry right there. You're supposed to pray for him. You could be fasting for him. You have power to help him. And the husband, the Bible clearly shows us that he can be an influence to the wife to cause her to be cleansed, to cause her to be pure. He can cause that to happen, as Messiah did it for the church. You don't have to argue with her, fight with her. I hear too many brothers talking about my wife doesn't do this and my wife doesn't do that. That's a cop-out, man. What you trying to say? The Spirit of your Father can't work on your wife? The one who created everything with the word of his mouth can't change you and change your wife? Is that what you're trying to say? Now, some people don't belong together and they still sticking together. But again, that is revealed to you by the Father. That's revealed to you by the Father. But most of the times when the Father's put both of y'all together, and you know that he's put you together, you know honestly, if you're honest with yourself, you know if he's put you together, and if he has, it's for your ministry, your union, to be a ministry to each other. And as quickly and as fully as you receive that and embrace it, the more happier you're going to be in the end, and the more dynamic power will be revealed in your union. You want the Father's glory. Remember, that's what we're looking for, the glory of the Father. Okay, I've seen women running all over the world talking about they in some sort of ministry, left their husbands at home only to come home and find out their husbands left them. Because that wasn't their ministry. Running all over the place preaching or teaching wasn't supposed to be your ministry. Your ministry to your husband. But they didn't get that part. In this women's liberation age in which we live. Revelation chapter 17. So he's going to show him the mystery of this woman that looks so good outwardly, but is really a whore. He's going to show him the mystery. Revelation chapter 17, verse 8, Revelation 17 and verse 8. We're taking this bit by bit so we can bite it into it properly. Notice what it says. The beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was and is not and yet is. Now we have to spend a little time on this verse so we can break this down bit by the grace and spirit of our Father in the name of the Messiah, Yahushua. Let's start off with the first two words of this verse, the beast. Now, what is a beast in Bible prophecy? Come on, talk to me now. What is a beast in Bible prophecy? What is a beast in prophecy? What is a beast? Talk to me. What is a beast in Bible prophecy? What does that represent? That's right. It's a kingdom. That's correct. Where do we get that from? That's Daniel chapter 7. Let's take a look at Daniel chapter 7. Daniel 7. Daniel chapter 7. Daniel asked the question plainly, what are these beasts? And it was revealed to him. Daniel chapter 7. I'm going to read verse 16, 17, and 18. Daniel 7, 16, 17, 18. Notice what it says. I came near unto one of them, there's one of the angels that stood by, and asked him the truth of all this. So he told me and made me to know the interpretation of the things. These great beasts, which are four kings which shall arise out of the earth. But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. So the beast represents a king, kingdom, government. Today we call it a nation or a government. The Bible in ancient times called them all kingdoms, right? So you had Egypt was a kingdom. Mizraim was a kingdom, the land of Ham. Babylon had a kingdom, but these were also nations. So today, a kingdom. United States has a kingdom. The UK has a kingdom, right? China has a kingdom. That's what these beasts represent: governments, entities, and kingdoms, right? That have people over them, entities over them, that have laws and things like that. This is what's represented as a beast. So here in Revelation 17, the beast is representative of a government agency, a government entity, I should say, a kingdom, a country, a nation. The beast. So a woman was riding a government entity, a government power. All right, everybody got that so far? So the beast that this woman was riding is a government, a kingdom. And the woman we saw represented a religious body. It represented a religious body. And it also could represent us, a nation as well, because he said, I have likened Zion unto a delicate woman. Zion is a nation. The nation of Israel is where Mount Zion is. So this woman is a religious body that's also a nation. Are you following me? Testing 1, 2, 3. The 12 tribes were not only the 12 tribes of a nation, but they represent the representatives of the true God, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So this is a religious group that's also a nation. Okay? So you have the nation of Israel, that's a woman. But then you also have the whore, that's a woman. And this woman was riding a beast that she controls. See, when you ride in the horse, right? You controlling the horse. You telling the horse to go right or to go left. You telling the horse to go or to stop. Right? You riding it. So she's riding this beast. She's controlling this government entity. So far, so good. Everybody with me so far? I just want to make sure you got that part. So the woman is controlling this Roman Catholic Church, this religious entity is also the head of a government. And so we know, obviously, the Vatican is a government. It's the head of a religious body, the Catholic Church, and it's the head of a government. The Vatican City is a government. And we also know that she's riding governments, which means she controls other governments. She controls other governments. Okay? Revelation 13 has already shown us that. And here we're seeing it again in Revelation 17. And again, I want to just point out, Revelation 17 has showed us the origins and the rise of this power. Revelation 13 shows it in its ultimate power. Revelation 17 is showing us its history, its rise, and its destruction, and why it's going to be destroyed. Okay? So the beast is this government kingdom entity that's a political entity that's being controlled by a religious power. That's also a religious assembly, a so-called church, what you call a congregation. It's the Romans. We see it's out of Rome. A religious entity controlling a government out of Rome is the Vatican, obviously. And notice it says, now the next thing it says, watch this now. And the beast that thou sawest was and is not and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit. Let's stop right here. Remember, it's mystery, but his second name on the forehead of this woman was Babylon the Great. So that we went back and we saw the origins of this rebellion, this government style rebellion against the Most High was with Nimrod. Okay, so it was. But does Nimrod exist now? No, he's dead. So it says was and is not. So in other words, at the time in the 1st century AD, listen carefully, when John the prophet was receiving this knowledge, this prophecy from the Messiah, from the Father, when he's receiving this information, there was no Babylonian kingdom per se. It had existed in ancient times with Nimrod, and then later with men like Nebuchadnezzar and his children and his successors. And it was eventually destroyed by Cyrus and the Medes and the Persians. Okay? So it was, and at the time John received that, it was not. So far, are you following me? Testing 1, 2, 3. So far, you follow. Okay, I just want to make sure I haven't lost anybody. Okay, because there's a lot in this situation here. There's a lot to this. As you can imagine, the world systems that the devil is using to operate are complicated in a sense. Messiah and the Father makes things very simple, but Asatan makes his stuff complicated. So the Father is showing us to unwrap it. So now we see the beast is a government entity. It's being ridden by a religious body. And it was under Nimrod, Nebuchadnezzar, and all that crew. It was. But at the time John receives this, it is not. It does not exist. Not in terms of something you can see. But it was being developed. Then it says, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit. Now we've seen a bottomless pit mentioned in the book of Revelation at least 3 times. It's mentioned in Revelation chapter 20. It's mentioned also in Revelation chapter 11. And it may be mentioned other places. Oh, yes, it's also Revelation chapter 9. Revelation 9, 11, Revelation 20, and here in Revelation 17. And it's telling us about it here. It says this beast that was and is not, this government agency, entity, power, kingdom shall ascend out of the bottomless pit. Let's see the other places that is being mentioned for context. Notice again, Revelation chapter 11. Notice again, we're talking about the 2 witnesses, which we know to be the 2 tables of the covenant, the Spirit of the Father working through the 2 tables of the covenant in his people in the last days, which are the 144,000. These are the 2 witnesses. And notice in Revelation chapter 11, verse 7, notice what it says, verse 7 of Revelation 11. And when they shall have finished their testimony, that is the 2 witnesses, the last message of the 144,000, the beast that ascended out of the bottomless pit shall make war against them and shall overcome them and kill them. Okay. So we see so far this beast was, but it's going to exist in Revelation 17. Shall ascend. We see what it's going to do. It's going to make war against the 2 witnesses. That is, it's going to be at war with the commandments, statutes, and judgments of the Most High. It's going to be at war with his character. It's going to be at war with his truth. And it's going to appear to overcome them and kill them. Are you following me so far? Testing 1, 2, 3. Okay. What else? Let's look, where else do we see this? We saw it in Revelation chapter 9. Revelation chapter 9. Revelation 9, verse 1 and 2. Revelation 9, actually 1, 2, and 3. Revelation 9, 1, 2, and 3. Notice what it says. And the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven unto the earth, and to him was given what? The key of the bottomless pit. And he opened the bottomless pit, and there arose a smoke out of the pit, as the smoke of a great furnace, and the sun and the air were darkened by reason of the smoke of the pit. And there came out of the smoke locusts upon the earth, and unto them was given power as scorpions of the earth have power. See, now, wait a minute. So now this time, it's not a beast coming out of the bottomless pit. If you notice, there's no beast coming out of it. No, it's locusts coming out of it. And they have scorpion-like sting power. It's locusts. And we said, this is not a nation. This is not a kingdom coming out of this pit. This is a religion coming out of the pit. And the Bible says the sting is in their tails. And we saw that the tail is the prophet that teaches lies. What power came up after Rome, after the establishment of the Roman Catholic Church? Came another power that stung the Roman Catholic Church and stung the earth, Islam. Yesterday, I was talking on my job, and I thought there were more people of Islam than there were people of Christianity. We Googled it, and we found out that there are 2.4 billion people on the earth that claim to be Christians, and 1.8 billion people on the earth that claim to be Muslim. That's a lot of people, right? And so Islam came up after Christianity, and it attacked Christianity. Okay, it did. It got overcome, but it attacked Christianity. That's how you got the Ottoman Empire. The Ottoman Empire came and took Constantine's land, that was now Turkey, took it and converted it to their religion. And they changed it to Istanbul. And they, not only that, they went to North Africa, they went into Africa, they went into the Middle East, so-called Middle East, they went east also, and they spread their religion at the point of a sword. They still do it. Okay? So this entity came out of the bottomless pit as well. So one thing we know about the bottomless pit that we can just say right now, only evil comes out of it. Nothing good comes out of the bottomless pit. Is that true or is not? Only evil comes out of the bottomless pit. There's nothing good come out of it. Okay, nothing from the Most High comes out of it. It's an opposition. What comes out of it is opposition to the Most High, opposition to his law. Lies come out of it. So let's think about this. Opposition to the Most High, opposition to his law, lie. Well, who does that represent? Who is the father of that opposition? Who originated the lies and the opposition to the Most High? Well, who is that? That's right, it's Asatan. And Asatan was given power over this earth, which is why Messiah calls him the God of this world. The God of this world. That means the God of the system of this world as it now exists. This is not the kingdom of Yah that's being in operation here. This is spiritual Babylon. And so that's a representation of the bottomless pit. The bottomless pit, a pit in the Bible, when you look up the word pit, it means grave. The bottomless grave, that's what this earth is. It is a bottomless grave, and it is run by Asatan. So now we understand what the bottomless pit is. It is this earth as it is run by Asatan. It represents lies and death and rebellion against the Most High. And everything that comes of it is in rebellion against the Most High and against his righteousness, against his truth. I praise Most High Yah that he is showing these things to his people in the book of Revelation. He is showing these things to us. He's revealing it to us. You know, many people on earth have no idea what I just said, have no idea what's going on. They don't understand this at all. And here it's given to us. We praise the Most High. We give him praise because it's his spirit that reveals these things to prepare us. So now we see one more place we're going to see that comes to mind, that we see the bottomless pit. Notice again, Revelation chapter 20. Revelation 20, verses 1, 2, and 3. Revelation 20, verses 1, 2, and 3. Notice again. And I saw an angel, and we're going to study this in great detail when we get there. And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key to the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is called the devil and Asatan, and bound him 1,000 years. and cast him into the bottomless pit and shut him up and set a seal upon him that he should deceive the nations no more till 1,000 years should be fulfilled. And after that, he must be loosed a little season. We'll stop for a second. So his ability to create lies and deception, his ability to rebel against the kingdom of the Most High will be stopped for 1,000 years. He won't have that ability at that time. He'll be locked up. Where? Someplace on the earth is what I gather, because all the rest of these things that come up out of bottomless pit came up out of the earth. He'll be locked up somewhere. I don't know exactly where. I'd be lying to you if I said I knew where, but I do know it's on the earth somewhere. Okay? So he's going to be limited. He's not going to be able to deceive. He's not going to be able to lie to anybody. He's not going to even have any communication. Boy, on lockdown in solitary. Huh? He going to be on lockdown in solitary confinement 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. He's not even going to get a break to come out for an hour. His behind going to be locked down for 1,000 years. Can't deceive anybody. But he's going to be loose at the end of that 1,000 years. He's going to be loosed for a little season. I'll talk about that later. But here, back to Revelation 17. So now we can see there's a beast, a government entity that used to exist, does not exist at the time John is receiving this. And at some point going to ascend out of the bottomless pit and go into position. So we know that this beast that was, and at the time John saw this, was not. When it comes out the bottomless pit, certain things we know already is led by Asatan. It's in rebellion against the Most High and against his law. It's bringing lies. Okay? Okay. Let's continue. Revelation chapter 17. Let's look closely at the rest of verse 8. And they that dwell upon the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world. And they, when they behold the beast that was and is not and yet is, was and is not and yet is. Babylon did exist. Nimrod did run it. He was the creator of it from Asatan's inspiration. And then he later brought it again to prominence. And out of Babylon came a country, other countries. For example, the Assyrians actually were under the control of Nimrod at one time also. That's why oftentimes in the Bible, the Chaldeans, the Babylonians, and the Assyrians are almost synonymous, though they were separate empires, separate kingdoms, because of their influence over one another. The Babylonian influence was in the Assyrian Empire. Just like the Babylonian influence was also in the empire of Mizraim, who we call Egypt. If you look up the word Egypt in Hebrew, you will see the word Mizraim, because that's the original name, Mizraim. Egypt was a name given to them by Europeans. It wasn't called Egypt at the time. It was actually called Kemet. Okay? So you have Mizraim, that was from Cush. Cush itself is the father. And Cush, we call Africa Ethiopia, which at the time, see, we think of Ethiopia as one small country in Eastern Africa. But almost all of Africa was Cush. Before the Caucasian man was dividing it all up, it was all Cush. You see. And all of that influenced Nimrod, influenced Mizraim, influenced the Assyrians. So sometimes you'll see Assyria represented as the oppressor of the people of the Most High, because they all represent the same system of Babylon out of the bottomless pit. Now, the difference, of course, is this system was founded with Ham's children. And at the end where we live, it is now controlled by Yafet's children. That's the difference. So it started with Ham, the melanated peoples, and then after they lost their power, it's now transferred to Yafet. You see? And that's where we are. For the last 2,000 plus years, it's been Yafet, starting with the Medes and the Persians, then going to the Greeks, then going to the Romans. Okay. So the earth is going to be, as it showed us in Revelation 13, it says, and they worshiped the dragon, which gave power to the beast, and they worshiped the beast, and all the world wondered after the beast. So now, All the earth in our day and age in which we live is on the path to perdition. Only a remnant is going to the kingdom. Remember, the scripture told us. And the dragon was wroth with the woman, that is, with the nation of Israel, the 12 tribes, and went to make war with the remnant of her seed. Right? That's all she had left, was a remnant, which keep the commandments of Yahweh and have the faith of Yahweh Shah, which is the righteousness of the Father. A remnant, not all. And we also read, the scriptures showed us that of all the land, 2/3 cut off and die. Only a third part, that's the remnant, is left of the Israelites. Only a third. That's not even talking about the people that are out here in Babylon that are Israelite blood. Only a third of what is now understood to be Israelites going to be left. And we also understand only a sixth part of this that's caught up in this power of this beast out of the bottom. It's only a sixth part of them gonna make it. That's it. Okay. So we know it's a remnant, and he's at war. Only a remnant is going, and so a remnant is going to bring forth this message that I'm now giving to you. The others are going to take hold and are taking hold and bringing up as well. Praise the Most High, because it's time. It's time. So it was and is not at the time John was given this in the first century. It was not, and yet is. What does that mean? At the time John was given this information, we know that pagan Rome existed. Pagan Rome existed at that time. There was no papal Rome yet, but pagan Rome existed. You understand? Y'all follow me so far? Pagan Rome existed. Papal Rome, being led by a religion, did not exist. But the pagan Rome under the Caesars did exist. And what do we see? I want to show you some things. Let's turn to 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. Going to begin from verse 1. Going to begin at verse 1 and go down to verse 4. That is 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 from verse 1 to 4. We're going to go further than that, but I just want to start here. Now we beseech you, brethren, by the coming of our Master Yahushua Messiah, and by our gathering together unto him, that ye be not soon shaken in mind, or be troubled, neither by spirit, nor by word, nor by letter, as from us, as that the day of Messiah is at hand. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, that the man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, who opposes and exalteth himself above all that is called Yahweh, and that is worshipped, so that he is a Elohim, sitting in the temple of Elohim, showing himself that he is Elohim. So wait, this is the first century. He said the Messiah will not return until there be a falling away first. What does that mean? That means the doctrine of the Israelite nation that was delivered to the Gentiles is going to be perverted, and it's going to be a falling away from the truth. And then the man of sin be revealed. That is, the man of sin that brings up Christianity, the son of perdition, the Romish church, opposes all and exalted himself above all. Started off with Constantine, exalted himself as the emperor, and developing what would later become the Roman Catholic Church. See? So he's telling the people, Messiah not going to come yet. This has to happen first. Okay? Let's continue. From verse 5, same 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, from verse 5 down to verse 7. Watch this very carefully now. Remember ye not that when I was yet with you, I told you these things. And now ye know what withholdeth, that he might be revealed in his time. For the mystery of iniquity doth already work. Only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. What's that? The mystery of iniquity. So the abomination that maketh desolate was beginning to form. Had not fully formed yet, but was beginning. Paul saw the origins of it in the first century. Okay. And being a prophet, he's prophesied about how it's not shown at that time, wasn't shown yet. Remember, the beast that was and is not and yet is. But he's already seeing how pagan Rome is going to be giving way eventually to a little horn power that's spiritual. Papal Rome. Wasn't called that at the time, but he knew it was the mystery of iniquity, a secret rising of iniquity from the bottomless pit. And he said, he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. What does that mean? That means pagan Rome is going to be taken out of the way and replaced with papal Rome. You don't see anything called pagan Rome today. You don't see any Caesars running the earth with armies. And yet Rome does run the earth. You see what I'm saying? Yet it does run the earth, runs all the Christian churches, runs all the false religions, every religious power on earth, every abomination is from them. They control all of it. There's no Christian church on earth that's being run by anything but Roman Catholics. None. I don't care what, and people don't want to hear that truth, but see, that's for their problem. We Israelites. And so we got to see what the Bible says. We know there's only one nation, there's only one true church, there's only one congregation that the Most High pays any attention to. It's the nation. It's the scattered people that have been scattered because of the sins against the Father and are now awakening. That's his true church. Rest of this stuff, man, is just stuff. But he got to be taken out of the way. So papal Rome is taking pagan Rome. The Caesars are being replaced with popes. Okay? Caesars being replaced with popes. Emperor Constantine being replaced by a pope. And they call in the popes, what did they call them? Holy Father. Holy Father. They give their honor and glory to a man. See? So he be taken out of the way. Then verse 8 and 9. Notice what it says, 2 Thessalonians 2, 8 and 9. And then shall that wicked be revealed, whom Yahweh shall consume with the spirit of his mouth and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. Even him whose coming is after the working of Satan with all power and signs and lying wonders. That's what we're seeing. That's what we're seeing. So now he's deceiving the earth and he's trying to replace the Messiah, trying to replace the Messiah's kingdom, trying to replace the Jerusalem, trying to replace the temple, right? Trying to replace the Levites, the Lawiyin, trying to replace the tribe of Judah. They're trying to replace everything and make it their own version. That's why when the scripture, when Noah prophesied, he said, Yafet shall dwell in the tents of Shem. That means he's trying to take Shem's place. Yafet would try to take Shem's place. When you look that up in the Hebrew, where it says Noah cursed Canaan, and he said, Yafet, he said, Yafet shall dwell in the tents of Shem. That is, Yafet is trying to replace Shem. And that's what we're seeing here. The Shemites, out of the Shemites, there are a lot of Shemites, Arabs are Shemites, but out of the Shemites come forth the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. The Hebrew come out of the Shemites. And you got Satan using all his deceivable power to create systems and governments and entities to replace the Hebrew, to replace Israelite, to create his own kingdom on this earth. And he's deceiving the entire earth to worship his kingdom. They chase after them dollar bills that his people created, right? Even if they don't believe in any God, they still chasing the dollar bills that his people create. They follow the entertainment that his people create. They follow religions. When they do follow religions, his people control them. And there's only one way for the true Israelite. That's to the Father in heaven. That's away from all these institutions. That's why we are being called. That's why they come out of her, my people. The first way you come out of her is to release yourself from every other religion. All these other institutions and systems have nothing to do with the Israelite nation. So the first call is a spiritual call to come away from these false systems. And some people say, well, how am I supposed to know what the truth is? It's very simple. Get on your knees and ask the Creator. I want to know which way I want to go. I need to go, Creator, because I want to give you the honor and the glory. That's really what the key is. Because these other systems want to give man glory, which is giving us Satan glory. But when you want to give the Father glory, you ask him. He will guide you in his word. And he will send forth, he said it, I'm going to send forth teachers that's going to teach you the words. The spirit that caused you to get on your knees and ask to create in the first place. The spirit of the creator that came to you and said, I want you to remove yourself from this Baptist church. I want you to remove yourself from this SDA church. I want you to remove yourself from these different religious systems that are not of me. I want you to remove yourself from them. And you're scared. And you're scared. So I'm going to be all by myself. I'm going to be all by myself. Because they got you being scared of being by yourself. But then you obey anyway. And then he sends forth teachers, and you will know if the teacher is true, because the Spirit will bear witness. The Father's Spirit will bear witness to your spirit and tell you it's the truth. Because you're seeking to please the Father. You understand? It's not hard, is it? It's not complicated. Man try to make it complicated, but it's not. And that's why I know with 100% certainty, just as certain as that woman said it was Brett Kavanaugh that tried to rape me. They said, how much certainty do you know? She said 100%. This is certain as she was, it was that brother that put his hands on her. I know with 100% certainty, brothers and sisters. I don't need to worry about, I'm not worried, as y'all know, I'm not worried about how many people following me. I'm not worried about starting no church. I don't want no money from none of y'all, and I'm poor, and I don't want your money because I could work. As long as I got 2 hands, 2 feet, and I could work, praise the Most High. Because I know that the Spirit of truth, if the Father gives it to me, is going to bear witness with the people seeking truth, and they're going to know I'm one of the teachers of the Most High. I don't have to worry about it. I don't argue with anybody. No. And how many there are, that's not for me to worry about either. Most High said, don't number the children of Israel. Not supposed to number. We're not supposed to know how many of us there are. Not supposed to know. It's not supposed to be revealed. We don't know how many of us there are. You don't want people to know that. Punished David when he tried to count them. Okay? Praise the Most High. But the Spirit bears witness of what is true with the seeker that wants to give honor and glory to the Father, that wants to honor their Creator, the one that made them. He will lead you in the path that you should go, and he will bear witness to the truth by his Spirit. Praise the Father. Praise his name. So now we see that the pagan Rome has to move out the way and then reveal the papal Rome, and then the wicked be revealed, who's going to be eventually destroyed. That is him that's coming after Asatan, who rises out of the bottomless pit. And then verse 10, 2 Thessalonians 2, verse 10 and 11 and 12. Notice again, 2 Thessalonians 2, 10, 11, and 12. And with all deceivableness of unrighteousness and them that perish, because they receive not a love of the truth, that they might be saved. And for this cause, Yah shall send them strong delusion, that they should believe a lie, that they all might be damned, who believe not the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness. This is not hard. As ignorant as anybody could be, you can't be as more ignorant as I. And I want to tell you, the Father will reveal the truth to you if you want to give him his glory. He will reveal the truth to you. But if you don't, if you have an agenda that includes you being exalted, if you have an agenda that includes some entity, man, person, system being exalted, guess what? He's not going to reveal his truth to you, because you are not seeking his glory alone. The highest level of glory. The Bible says, fear Yah and keep his commandments. So this is the whole duty of man. My wife and I were looking at that verse last night, and the word duty in that verse in Ecclesiastes 12, the word duty is italicized, which means it was a word that was added, which means if you read it without the word duty in it, it says fear Yah and keep his commandment, for this is the whole of man. So you can't reach any higher level than to be obedient to the commandments of the Father. You can't reach any higher level than that, no matter what. Okay? That's the whole of man. Praise the Most High. That's the whole of man, to be obedient to the commandments of the Creator. And we know very well, in order to be obedient to the commandments of the Creator in a way that's acceptable to him, we need his Spirit. We need his Spirit of righteousness. And his Spirit of righteousness will cause us to be obedient to his commandments. That's the highest level. So in order to get that, we need to receive the Father's Spirit and be obedient to him. Praise the Most High. That's right. The highest level of existence for us is to be obedient to the Father. Highest level, the highest glory. When you have anything else but that, when you are involved in any way that you think you can save yourself, when you think you can be high, when you think it's you, you have just created an idol. That's right. You could exactly. To obey and worship the Creator makes us complete, makes us whole. That's the whole of man. Praise the Most High Yah. I want to stop here. We're going to come back in a little while and take a break. I almost forgot to take a break. I was just going to keep going, but I need to stop, give you all a break, give us a break, and come back. Let's have a word of prayer. We're going to come back. We're not finished. We're going to come back here and get into 17. Let's have a word of prayer. Most High Yahweh, we are so grateful and thankful for your mercy upon us. And we pray today that your spirit will continue to guide and direct us, that we might bring forth truth and be obedient according to Yahweh Shai's spirit, your spirit. In the name of Yahweh Shai Messiah, we pray. Amen.